Hey, it's Knox. Let's get ready for church. It's been a while since I've gone back to church, to be honest with you. And as I reflect on going back to church, I reflect on the book of Jonah. So if we go to Jonah 4, there's this interesting story, or rather, there's an interesting thing that God does to Jonah, in that as Jonah is, in a sense, arguing with God about, going to the people of Nineveh and preaching to the people of Nineveh, God makes it such that there's a flower that he sort of raises over Jonah to cover his head, and overnight a worm comes and it eats this flower, and Jonah gets frustrated, and he's like, he gets angry, and he asks God, obviously, why did this flower die? And God says to him, well, in verse 9, is it right for you to be angry about the plant? He says, you have had pity on the plant for which you have not labored nor made it grow, which came out in the night and perished in the night. And should I then not pity Nineveh, that great city in which are more than 120,000 persons who cannot discern between their right hand and their left? As I reflect on sort of going back to church and going back to community and just kind of just getting back into stuff, I think of this story and how, what I find very interesting about it is how God knew Jonah's heart. He just had to remind him that you have the right heart, you're just not in the right place. How gracious is God that he took the time to remind Jonah of the state of his heart. How loving is God that he made Jonah's anger a teachable moment. How great is God that he redirected Jonah to his God-given purpose even when he wanted to reject it. As I reflect on going back to church and sometimes feeling a lot of feelings about it, this story brings me so much comfort in knowing that God wants us to step into his purpose for our lives. He forgives us for those moments when we strayed because we were angry or frustrated at unanswered prayers or disappointments. God is a good God and he loves us. He wants us to live in purpose. He wants us to reach the lost, the sick, and the weary. And I guess for me, that starts with allowing myself to be part of a church community, allowing myself to grow and to immerse myself in an environment where I will be held accountable. So join me as I take that step to go back to church. First things first, as you would have seen in the video, I am putting on makeup. Now, I think makeup is a great way to feel confident, even when you don't at times. And I really enjoy playing around with different tones and makeup and just looking confident, especially when I'm going to an environment where I need to speak to new people. I think putting on makeup makes me feel like I have that best friend rooting for me in the background. But yeah, that's me putting on some blush. I've never actually worn blush before, so as I was putting on the blush, I realized after when I put in my makeup, when I looked at my face in the light, that the blush was just a bit too much, but it was it was a good try. And then that's me putting on some powder just to close off the look. And then we added eyeliner. I don't know why, but for whatever reason, when I wear eyeliner, I always sort of look a bit like a ghost. But yeah, I try to just get the eyeliner right. I think I need to get some lessons on how to put an eyeliner. You'll see in a later part of the video how it kind of looks like, I don't know, a bit of a ghostly. Let's just call it ghostly. But anyway, we topped it off with some eyeshadow as well. And that's me applying some setting mist just to finalize my look. So I did not have a chance to do my hair. We were going to just wear a doek for the day. That's the outfit. Just a white Calvin Klein jeans and a coat, and that's my doek. Yeah, at some point I need to get some hair and do my hair, but yeah, that is the look for the day. As you can see, I was looking out because it's a bit cloudy. And then, like I said, there's the eyeliner there looking a bit ghostly, but at least my lips are killing the look. Like, look at how good my lips are looking. Yes, girl. Yes, girl. And the blush. The blush was interesting. But yeah, I had a great time at church. I was just too much in the spirit to record in church, but that's me walking out. I decided to go grab groceries and buy some hair. Funny enough, so interesting story about when I first moved to the UK. The trolleys have a coin that you need to put in and then return when you are done shopping. I didn't realize that you actually get your coin back. So for about a year, I would never make use of the trolleys just because of that. And it was only after I was returning a trolley one time, and I had decided I was just going to pay the £1 for the trolley. And I see somebody there about to lock in their trolley. So I actually was getting a trolley. So I give them the coin and they look at me odd. They give me this odd look like, why do you look so proud of yourself? And it was only then that I realized that the £1 is actually just a deposit. And it's to hold the trolley as you're using it. But yeah, anyway. I decided to grab some McDonald's after church because I was hungry. I took too long doing my makeup and I didn't get a chance to get some breakfast. And as I was grabbing McDonald's, I thought I should just tell you about who I met. I met this lovely lady at church who just shared with me her journey, how she had been at the church for close to 20 years, and just what a lovely and amazing environment it is. And, I think it's nice to have conversations. Being in the UK, you can sometimes spend weeks without actually having a conversation with someone. So it was just such a blessing. That brings me to the end of my video. Till we meet again. Bye.